So joining us today are two leaders who live at the intersection of brand, operations, and the invisible tech that holds it all together. First, we have Daniele Tedesco, who runs global, digital, and commerce for Essity. With him is Dano from SAP, formerly the CIO of Campbell Soup North America.
I get to meet with CPG leaders all across North America, right?
We serve 1 billion people every day. 1/9 of the world's population is using and touching our product.
We had to go all across the globe. I'm not the tech guy that was actually changing the stuff, but I had to go in there and meet with these businesses and these different IT teams and just build trust because I was an advisor to them.
The Art of Commerce is a podcast featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. Hosted by Anish, a data-obsessed creative director, and Jinx, a growth-obsessed CMO. Listen on for actionable insights for the modern marketer.
So John, I want to deep dive on something you said there because, we talked about it kind of before we got on the recording here. That when you were at Campbell, so you've traveled all over the place, you've talked to tons of people now in the former life and the new life, but when you're at Campbell's, you were very focused on that business. And we always talk about like, you're almost like stuck in the four walls because you have to be stuck in the four walls of your organization. You moved to SAP. Now you're talking to people across the spectrum here, different companies, different business problems. And you even said like, I kind of realized like, man, there was a lot of stuff I didn't know and tech maybe was passing me by a little bit. So can you talk about like once you stepped out and got to see a broader purview, like what are the things you've learned and what are the things you wish you had known and what's kind of maybe the nuggets of folks that are still in the four walls that are listening they can take away?
There's a few different elements here. So one, all of a sudden at SAP you're at the tip of the spear in terms of technology, right? Everything that SAP is working on now is to AI enable everything within their solution set, right? So whereas when you're still talking to a decent amount of customers, they're still talking about how to get out of the customizations of their old ERP, right? And that's kind of being in the four walls of that company as an example, right? But the reality is when I'm at Campbell's, you're everything from a tech support person to a tech strategist to everything that's kind of focused internally to a politician at times, right? And you can get into implementation cycles, and this stuff takes a long time to implement at times, right? You could be in a year cycle or a 2-year cycle just to get this up and running and dealing with change management, dealing with issues. So dealing with everything on a day-to-day basis while you're trying to devise a strategy. At the same time, over here in SAP, I've been at SAP for 4 years now, and the year one, the company and all of its solutions are absolutely 100% different than they were, first year versus they are now. That's how fast it's moving, right? AI-enabled capability across the stack, business AI, like that wasn't really that big of a thing. It was all machine learning when I started, 4 years ago, but it's just moving so fast. So, but internally at a customer like I was, you're focused on implementing that planning solution, that IBP solution, that ERP solution. And, a lot of these things take a while. And next thing you know, you've just lost track of where everything's going. So that's a big part of it. Now, I would say that it's absolutely critical, and that's why I love working with someone like Dan, right? Is in my job, I know that business problem. So I want to help my customers as an advisor to help them understand how can they create a balance where they can stay connected to externally how fast everything is going while they're still dealing with the challenges of rolling out a B2B platform across multiple brand segments, right? Like Dan is doing, right? So it's so easy to get kind of closed off. So I feel like it's part of my job, and it's a really fun part of my job to build relationships with folks like Dan and help them just get access to things that I didn't know existed when I was at Campbell's. right? The resources that are available for customers within SAP as an example, the events, the abilities to actually tell your story, right, of success, which is a great thing for, in this case, Essity and for Dan and for SAP. So that's one of the things that I can do for folks as I connect with them within the CPG ecosystem, is to help them kind of bridge that potential gap that may be there. And it's really fun and rewarding, and you get to be friends with people like Dan, which has been just awesome. So yeah, a really, really interesting challenge to open up your eyes and get out there.
Wow. John, you mentioned the availability of tools that you have, and that actually brings me to something Dan told us off cam the first time we met. Dan, you mentioned you use 350 marketing tools at Essity, and that's just marketing, right? That's not data, not your agency partners, vendors. Is that a typical number across the industry? And also, what does a number like that tell you? How do you ensure a consistent handoffs between these 350 tools that you have and the people and processes to support that? Share some light on this beast of a machine that you have working behind the scenes.
Sure. I mean, I feel like we've been a little bit picking on marketing and they're a little bit of our punching bag, but I really don't mean it in any
We're rapping. We'll make sure we'll give him a hug. Like,
I know Jinx, you're a marketeer at heart, but I think the challenge is right. It comes back to that empathy and putting yourself in their shoes, right? They have a lot on their plate, right? They have P&L ownership in some cases. They have SG&A, ad spend, right? So this is like enabling that, right? That to get their job done, they need these things, right? So that's like putting myself in their shoes, and oftentimes, we implement a solution very quickly because it fits that need in that time, right? And I think what Essity and my organization that I'm in is like really trying to be more of a partner and less of like a service ticket, right? Like submit your ticket and you get your thing, right? Like I think that's the evolution that manufacturers have to take, is like really seeing IT going back to that, fix my laptop, is like they're our partner, right? Everything should be IT led, if you think about it, right? Because that's going to be at the end of the funnel anyway. So, and I know a lot of industries that you wouldn't expect, like pharma, they're thinking IT led, right? They're starting in their IT organization, so it's an interesting transition that we're going under, and I think it's important to really hone back in on that need and that perspective that they have.
Any tips or tricks for our marketers who are listening in who work with a similar stack of a big magnitude? Like 350 tools is a lot. Do you recommend consolidation, optimizing processes? How do you approach that from the other side of the fence, which is the IT and technology enablement?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've found is that oftentimes these tools have, you're at the tip of the iceberg. You're just using and you don't have a team of analysts to help you with the rest of the capability, the rest of the tool. So what we've tried to do is change the language away from, I need X, Y, and Z tool. I need the latest search gizmo, and talk about the capability. And that's breaking it down into language that everyone can get around. And then you can say, okay, let's let the technology guys go look at our portfolio and find the right fit for that capability. And it's changing, as John said. Like AI is changing the game. There's new tools, new things coming out constantly, right? So you do need, it's not black or white, and everything is a spectrum in life, right? So you do need that, okay, all right, this thing we can move fast on, this thing we can buy and purchase, versus, all right, let's look at our portfolio and pump the brakes a little bit.
Right, so don't hate, collaborate. That's a solid takeaway.
Of course, Anish. I love it. And I think part of that collaboration is look, because I mean, we're guilty of it, right? I want it now. I need it now. I want my conversion rate to be better now. I want this thing. And that's where that's why the marketer says, I need this tool because I went to this conference and this guy gave me an amazing demo and I need this, right? Like, trust me, I'm guilty of it. But I think the real key is if you're empathetic on the other side too, like I get the need for speed. I get that these guys are they need to hit their numbers. So how do we get them? But then also the understanding of, and this is my analogy of, if you're shooting an arrow and you want to hit a target accurately in the bullseye, if you go really quickly and just shoot it, the arrow's going to go everywhere. But if you actually take your time, pull it back, hold it, not for about an hour, for a second, and then go forward, you're actually going to get right on the bullseye. And the key of that is like, sometimes you just need to slow down a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. And that actually makes your outputs more effective, your marketing more efficient, and your execution better. So that's kind of the way I think about it.
Yeah. And in terms of, Anish, you're talking about, collaborate. I think it's also, there's an element of compromise, getting back to the empathy component, right? You have to be able to compromise in terms of your engagement, right? And I think, in the case of Essity, and Dan, you can obviously extrapolate on this, but this headless architecture allowed a lot of these brands to be able to still have the front end web look and feel of this thing be their own, right? Right, versus saying no, you got to use this specific tool, right? So that's just an example of just you've got to be able to find the compromise, because no one is 100% right? So and anyone, whether it's an IT person or vice versa, being stubborn about these things, that collaboration has got to come in the form of some compromises to make sure that the experience is the way it's supposed to be as quickly as possible, as you were just saying, Jinx.
Well, I think that's awesome. I think, we got a little bit of time left, and I do want to pivot. You talked about, John, it's a nice tee up as well. You talked about events and things you're doing, being on the SAP side. And you and Dan are actually going to collaborate on something early next year, the National Retail Federation Conference out in New York in the Javits Center. So I'd love, John, Dan, for you guys to talk about, like, first of all, give the audience a view of like what that is, if they don't know what it is, but then also, what are you guys going to talk about?
Yeah, so NRF, the National Retail Federation, it is a monstrous event at the Javits Center in early January or mid-January, and it you would think. I remember I went there a couple of years ago for the first time, and I was thinking it would be a lot, of retail discussions type things, right, around processes or capabilities. You walk into this gigantic room, and it is tech companies wall to wall, right? It is all about technology, right? And, that's physical technology or like on shelf type capability, robots cooking pizzas. I mean, you got everything, but it's a very technology focused event about how to enable innovation and growth within the retail space. I don't know, Dan, if you have anything to add based on your experience.
I mean, I think it's fascinating. Like John said, it's almost like CES for consumer goods, right? It's like things that I'm looking for that are near and dear to me is like understanding. So retail always leads the game, right? Like, so for a B2B perspective or, direct to consumer, what are they doing? What does unified commerce mean in the future, especially with AI? Like, how are consumers going to want to interact with brick and mortar versus online? I mean, it's amazing nowadays what you can do, right? You can see real stock information better than an associate at Walmart, right? You know the product's there, right? They just have to find it for you. So like keeping an eye on those trends is important to me, and seeing what we can do and what our retail partners and distributors are expecting. What's the next thing they expect?
Speaking of trends powering retail experiences, whenever I'm out shopping on a website or at a retail store, all I care about is finding the right product, checking out, going back home and enjoying it, right? But our conversation today has made me realize that we really see just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much technology, so many people, so many processes. There's just so much data powering these experiences that it really feels like magic. John, I think you said something like this, as no one complains when things are going great. When something's broken, the supply chain is displaced, when my products are delayed, I'm an angry consumer, right? So, Gang and John, I want one example from each of you of your favorite retail magic that this technology enables. Gang, maybe something from the online e-commerce space. John, maybe something from the retail world.
So a tool or perspective, a tool or capability that I've been very close to supporting is the implementation of SAP Commerce Cloud, and I don't think you'll find that on any billboards, if you will. Like it's not the retail preferred one, but it's been so powerful, and it's been the enterprise solution that we've been leaning on and rolling out, and I think that one has really been kind of the key to our success.
What does it do? Explain it to me like a simple-minded consumer that I am.
Yeah,
simple-minded marketer, actually.
It provides us the ability to create a template that you can then slap another brand on, and it's already in Essity's ecosystem, and you can launch in a new market. So we've gone from creating a B2C website that normally would take us 6 to 9 months. Now it takes us 6 to 9 weeks, and that's fully vetted, tested. We're getting local users to test it. So that's the kind of speed that our business stakeholders get excited about. It didn't start that way. We had to create the template first, but that was the advantage of going with an enterprise solution like that.
Nice. John, what about you?
Yeah, so what I would say is one of the great things at NRF is to be able to walk up and hear a story from a customer like Essity with Dan, right? And that's one of the things that he's going to do in NRF. So hearing it straight from people telling their stories of what they've been able to do is really impactful. And you're going to walk around, you're going to see a lot of demonstrations of things, but nothing beats hearing the story right out of a customer's mouth, for sure. I mean, there's so many things. Just from an interesting point of view, right? And of course, everything, Dan and I were joking about this not too long ago. It's like, you're going to walk in there and then every single booth is going to say AI, right? Every single one, right? And what they're doing with AI. And it can be very sensationalized there, quite honestly. And it kind of is funny, if depending on the person that's walking around, getting back to the theme of the conversation that we've been in, a lot of people will be kind of really wowed, like, wow, that's an amazing shopping cart that checks everything out, and that could be really productive and create a cool user experience for our customers in a grocery store. And I'm thinking, where's that data go? Like, what happens to the cart when it gets, somebody takes it across the street, and the security of it, depending on the lens that you're in, But there's some cool stuff, even at the SAP experience, right, where, you have visual monitoring of patrons through a store, right? Now, it doesn't get down to a personal picture. It turns people into stick figures, as an example, right? But it's tracking movements and time that they're spending at a particular spot within the store, right? And again, I mean, that's cool, but layering an AI agent on top of that to really analyze what that means, all of the data, versus somebody having to extrapolate and throw it into spreadsheets or whatever they do, but having something automatically, an agent, really analyze and be able to provide recommendations about store flow or where things should be on shelves based on data and information that's been analyzed or captured visually, in this case, through scanners or cameras inside of a store, is pretty cool stuff. But I think the AI component really takes it to the next level to actually do something with it versus, it's really cool to see stick figures walking around on a screen, right? It's what do you do about it?
Very fascinating as a marketer, because certainly from being used to insights like time spent on page on the e-commerce site, now you could have insights like time spent on aisle. And just time spent on product shelves. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. Again, and you said it, like the tip of the iceberg, because some people might go there and say, that's really slick, cool tech. But like, John, you make a great point. You're like, okay, great, cool, slick. How does it integrate? Right? How does it fit in? And I think if we take away nothing, like let's make sure we bring that lens to it. So So we're coming to close to time, guys. We like to do. I hope we can keep you guys for a couple more minutes. We like to do at the end of these like kind of like a little lightning round. If you're good with that.
Sure.
So if you're good, I'm gonna get started. So, and it doesn't matter who goes first. John, Dan, you take it from here. But okay, what's the last thing you used ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever for?
So I'm at a point now where I have to start to analyze consumer products trends for 2026.
Nice.
And that requires a lot of research, whether it's analyst documents, whether that's, quarterly releases from public companies, right, in terms of performance. And usually that's a whole lot of extrapolation of a lot of different pieces of data to analyze and then come up with conclusions. But now I can get down to a segmented analysis of, hey, go find every company that's 10 billion and up in the food and beverage space and help me analyze based on their latest quarterly review, like what are the key challenges and opportunities that they see in 2026. And then you can do it for a segment of 10 billion to 1 billion and then 1 billion below. And then you start to get a much richer analysis of consumer products trends based on the diversity of different sizes and different segments within a consumer product space that would take a really long time, and I can get it done significantly faster.
Awesome. Dan, what do you got?
I have a more personal one. So we use Copilot. We had our annual virtual holiday party today. And I just wanted to highlight, I just wanted Copilot to go through my calendar, my email, just give me all the highlights for this year so that I can go back to the team and because we're in a little bit of a holiday rut. I think going into the holidays, we're not, so I wanted to really kind of remind them where we started the year. So that was, and it's really powerful for doing things like that.
So that was like your Microsoft Wrapped or whatever.
Exactly. Microsoft Wrapped. Yeah.
I love it. All right, cool. So we talked a lot about trust and empathy. What's one thing marketers should understand about IT?
That we're here to support you. But at the same time, we're focused on the broader strategy of the organization to make everything work, and just work with us, and we'll come up with the right solution that can be as effective as possible. Just it's the basic theme of everything we talked about. Just help build trust and empathy, and we'll collaborate together and compromise where needed and get it done.
Oh,
I would say, getting back to that concept of capability over tool and drilling down those 5 whys of why do you need this capability? What does it serve? And I think then you can really kind of drill into okay, how do we solve this together as that partnership?
Amazing. Okay, on the flip, what do IT, based on your guys' experiences collaborating, what do IT leaders and IT folks, what should they know about marketers and brands?
I can start with this one. I going back to my point, I think, you have to keep in mind these business leaders are under a lot of pressure, and the world is changing so quickly. Innovation is, constantly happening at a digital front. How do you keep that spectrum of deliver fast versus deliver secure, right? And that's the balance that you have to strike, and having that open dialogue.
I would say, IT people are all about technology innovation, but the reality is from a brand's perspective, they're all about product innovation, right? You cannot let the consumer stray away from your brand loyalty because you haven't come up with anything innovative from a flavor profile, from a packaging design, from a sustainability profile perspective. So they have to be constantly innovating. Right? Just like you think you do from a technology perspective, they have to constantly be innovating.
I love that. Awesome, guys. Well, I think that's a great way to end. I mean, that's the moral of the story is IT and marketing can hug it out because we're both trying to innovate together. We're both trying to go to market as quickly as possible together.
Don't hate, collaborate.
Don't hate, collaborate. And again, trust, this is not a technology problem that we're solving. This is a people problem around let's get better trust, let's get better empathy, and let's communicate more effectively, because once we know where we want to sail the ship, we can get there together. So this has been really awesome. Dan, John, thank you so much for talking to us. Really good luck at your NRF session. We'll have some of the links and other things that we can post here to your session in the show notes. But honestly, so great to have you. Awesome conversation, and we'll talk soon. And this is The Art of Commerce. Before I forget, this is The Art of Commerce. And so subscribe if you like what John and Dan are saying. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Start the conversation offline, but definitely start the conversation with us by liking and subscribing. So,
and who knows, we'll probably have John and Dan back on the pod sometime in the future.
I would
never
love that.
know.
This was really fun, guys. Really enjoyed it. You guys are awesome at what you do here. This is fantastic. Really fun.
Awesome, guys. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so
done.
much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys. Good work.
Of
Thanks
course.
for joining. Thanks for the stories.
Guys. We'll see you.
Take care.
This is The Art of Commerce, featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. If you found value in today's episode, follow the show, leave a review, and stay tuned for more insights for the minds reshaping modern marketing.